Welcome to the Determined Mom Show, the only marketing podcast dedicated to guiding mom CEOs into tranquility, wealth, and multiplying those precious moments. Welcome to this episode of the Determined Mom Show. I have the lovely Jessica Gershman here, and she is the founder of Zen Mommy and the host of Mom Slow Down, the podcast. So welcome, Jessica.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here, and determination is near and dear to my heart. So I graduated a 500-hour yoga program, and they actually gave me a Hindi name, and it's Avasita, which means determined one. So
that's
right
awesome.
in line. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Well, you have a lot going on in your business, and you help so many women in what you do. So I admire that. And I think it is right there with the determined mom philosophy. So I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you before we dive into our topic. So then that way the audience can get to know you a little.
Yeah. Well, I'm a mom of four. I have two stepsons that I helped raise and two little girls. I'm a recovering perfectionist, which I've said. I wasn't always Zen. Zen is like a constant, I guess, desire or something to kind of strive for, because life is really hard and tricky. And there's always things, especially as a mom or a business owner, that, you can have the best laid plans and, life is going to throw you a few curveballs. And so throughout my years, really, I started my career really young. I was a commercial real estate developer at 19. And that was an interesting way to kind of get into the business world. And when I graduated high school, I wanted to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 company. So, I've always kind of had that in my blood. But I struggled with, I'm very open talking about my eating disorder in the past, and really struggled with this kind of proverbial perfectionist carrot that gets thrown at us in society as women. And later on, when I became a mother, and, I just really walked around, at least the first part of my adulthood, feeling less than most of the time. And it's hard when you don't feel good about yourself. Your other relationships aren't very good. So my marriage wasn't great. My relationships with my stepsons weren't great. I didn't have any friends, really adult friends at that time. And I knew something had to change when my daughter was born. And if anyone, knows that, they've had kids out there, the strength that you have becoming a mother is, it's indescribable. You just all of a sudden catapult into this, world where you are, this mama bear, and you're invincible, and you have all this strength that you never knew was possible. And what I wouldn't do for myself, I did for my daughter. And so that's when the path of transformation really started for me, because I knew through all the parenting books, of course, that I read as a perfectionist, that it wasn't what I said, it was how I behaved and what she was going to model, in my own behavior. And if I didn't love myself, then I was going to set a platform for, my daughter, and I have two daughters now, but my daughter at the time to not feel great about herself. And I would pray every night that, she would never suffer the way that I did with eating disorders and isolation and like self-hatred. And so here we are 13 years later. And, I'm out kind of spreading this word for everyone, because I know the struggle of being a mom, and I know the struggles of feeling less than and being in that place. And, I have deep, deep compassion for women everywhere, and just the struggles that we have. So that's where I am.
That's awesome. You touched on so many things that I kind of want to go back and talk about. The first one being obviously perfectionism. I think as mothers, there's almost like this intrinsic instinct to try to do everything right, like everything. Like, am I feeding them the right food? Are they watching the right amount of TV? Are they doing the right amount of homework? Are they, socializing the right amount? Are they getting enough sleep? Like, there's just so many things that we try to perfect. And this episode is really going to help a lot of women, I think, to be able to release that, as you've learned over the last 13 years, and you're going to share with us. So I'm really excited to hear about that. And also your ambition is just really, really impressive. Just everything that you've done over the last however many years, since you were 19 or since you graduated high school. It's really impressive and very
Been a lot of
inspiring.
years.
Yeah, same here. So
Okay, yeah, no, I'm 40, so it was a long time ago.
yeah, I'm 41. So
Yay.
yeah, we're in that same area. But yeah, it's really inspiring. And I love having really strong women like you on the show in order to show us that, you know what, you've been through everything that we're all struggling with right now. And you might even still be going through some different stuff, you know, we all are all the time. But I really love that you're willing to share with us.
Yeah, and as women, as mothers, we immediately, as soon as we become pregnant, it all of a sudden becomes about someone else, right? We lose our identity altogether. Even the baby showers, they're all the gifts for the baby. Like you're totally lost in that. And then we have everything in society being like, this is like challenging our intuition, telling us that we don't know how to be the best mom for our child, or that we don't know what's best, and that we all of a sudden get inundated with all of this external kind of data of like, well, you need to be doing this and you need to be doing that, and this isn't good enough, and that, and it changes all the time. And so we're really meant by society just to be really confused about what is, we just want to do what's right for our children. And the truth in all of that is our intuition as mothers is like dead set on, and if we can take some time, and that's like that, my whole Mom Slow Down podcast is like, you have to slow down to hear what's going on in the intuition, what's going on in your heart, how you're feeling. And if you're able to kind of access that and trust that inner voice that we all have, that we've been told not to listen to, but that is so spot on and so incredible and amazing, we can accomplish anything, and we can feel good, and we can, we can go to sleep at night not worrying about the 5 conversations that we had and what did the people think of us, or what are we doing tomorrow, and trying to balance all the schedules, but sleep in a peaceful state that like, hey, I'm doing the best I can with the resources I have today, and I'm trusting my gut, and I know I'm good enough. And that, unfortunately, is not what everybody feels. We walk around just feeling so much less than, and the mom guilt, right, is so real.
Yeah.
And it's almost unavoidable, but the more that we can recognize that, like, hey, this is mom guilt coming in, it's not real, we're creating it, right, in our mind, then we can be like, oh, okay, that's mom guilt. What do I really need in this moment? Do I really need to go do something for myself, right, and take care of me? Do I need to attend to something going on in my family? Do I need to take a break and go for a walk? Do I need to call a friend? But we just walk around feeling like so guilty. And it's not really, guilt is a thankless emotion, right? So it's not helping the object of our guilt. And it certainly doesn't help us by feeling guilty. We just walk around feeling kind of crappy.
Yeah. And the whole guilt is kind of like I don't know if it's it's kind of like something that we wear, and it's always there with us. It's not something that goes away, because in an instant you can like look at somebody else's kid or look at anything. Like that comparison syndrome too also adds to the guilt, but it's just always there. And I think it's really important what we're talking about to try to kind of overcome that and let go of those things. And I really like that you said, go to bed and just know that you're doing the right thing that you can, or as much as you can with all of the resources that you can. And that is a really freeing statement in itself. Like if we all just like at the end of the day, like had that little talk with ourselves, I think even just that one tiny piece of advice that you just, mentioned could change our perspective on a lot of things.
I totally agree. Anyway, I wanted to get back to this concept of perfection and perfectionism, because it kind of goes with the mom guilt that we're not, being good enough or doing the right things. And this idea of perfection, which gets dangled in front of our faces, is really unattainable, which is what is the, irony behind the whole thing. And so my new kind of platform that I want to, I think, promote and this concept is like, we live in a very black and white society. And as mothers, we're very black and white. It's either pass, fail. We've either did a great job, or we suck and we, no one should talk to us, or, we're killing our nutrition and we're doing the best, or we're a terrible person because we ate McDonald's on the way home. So we're in this very strict, rigid, black and white, pass, fail kind of mentality. And I want to like scream from the rooftops, like to live in the gray. Like there is so much beauty in the gray. And the gray being like anything. So if taking care of yourself includes like movement or workout, well, it would be ideal in a black and white society that you would have a 60-minute workout and you could go to the gym and you could do everything. But maybe today you didn't sleep very well last night because you have an infant at home and you just wanted to walk outside for 5 minutes, and that is movement. Or you wanted to do a few yoga stretches because you got up from working. You have to consider the resources that you have in each and every kind of experience and give yourself the grace to live in the gray, because life is gray. I mean, there's so much beauty that's happening in those moments. And if we can take these, what they would call judgments, and the whole idea of mindfulness is being in the present moment without judgment, and take these judgments and kind of toss them away and just look at each opportunity. Okay, what do I have today? Do I get my 60-minute workout in, and eat all of my veggies and pick my kids up, and take them to school and is that reasonable today? Or am I going to have to make, some compromises, some concessions, and live in that gray? Because we'll start feeling a lot better about ourselves, because like, hey, here's what I got accomplished today. Here's where my priorities were. It wasn't pass fail. I still moved my body in a way that made me feel good. And I got outside and, felt some sunshine on my face. And, I know I had McDonald's for breakfast, but I had a salad for lunch, and that's still great. And, we can live in this opportunity where we start to work on building ourselves up a little bit more by giving ourselves a little bit of grace to live in the gray.
Yeah. That living in the gray is such a great analogy. And I actually was thinking as you were saying it, like giving yourself grace, like that is exactly what came to my mind, because we don't do that at all as mothers. And it's really, really bad. And the funny thing is that I think other people give us a lot of grace as mothers, but we don't give ourselves that same grace. So like, someone is watching you at the store, like struggle with something, and they're like, oh, she's a mom. She's got 3 kids with her. That's so nice. It's, let me see how I can help her, or let me just tell her something nice. And you don't realize that they're giving you that grace of being a mother and taking care of those kids, and maybe not doing it perfectly, but they're giving you like that acknowledgement of like, hey, you're doing a good job. But we don't give ourselves that same, we just totally miss out on it.
No, and the chatter in our head, like I always say this, and I say it to my children, like the way that we talk to ourselves in our heads is like, we would never talk to anybody that we cared about that way, because we would have no friends. Nobody would be around us. We wouldn't talk to our kids that way. We wouldn't talk to our spouse or our friends or our boss or coworkers or whatever. And it is how we speak to ourselves, but we can start to reframe that, and I have this like meditation on an inner critic, and it's great because you get to like take a minute and visualize that little voice inside your head, and then put like a face to it and a voice and a name. And so when that inner critic starts, kicking up and telling you that you're not good enough or you're not worthy or something along those lines, you can be like, hey, mine's name is Jordan. So I'm like, hey, Jordan, back off. I'm doing the best I can right now.
That's funny.
Right. It's really powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. And where is that meditation accessible? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah. So I launched an app over the summer called the Zen Mommy. And really, I looked at the kind of trajectory of the last 13 of my years. And I've, trained in yoga. That's been my movement of choice, all throughout the country, from New York to San Francisco and everywhere in between. And yoga as a practice is like this beautiful meditation in motion, and it's a way to connect with our bodies. And for me, the practice allowed me to come back in and start loving my body, which I had hated for years. And so when I launched the app, I really thought hard about what brought me the most joy over the last 13 years. And I teach 3 pillars. I teach movement, which is yoga based. I teach nourishment, because I went to culinary school just for fun. And, we all have to eat. And majority of the cooking at home is placed on us moms, but we don't necessarily like it.
Very
but
true.
We do have to feed our families. And so I wanted to teach even like basic cooking skills, like how to hold a knife. What are your knife skills? What are some grilling techniques? Some things that, when you feel more confident at a skill, you're going to enjoy it more. And so I teach cooking. I create recipes that are allergy friendly, because we're gluten and dairy free at my house. So I'm always creating fun recipes. And then I teach the mindset piece, which is meditation and breath work, which I think, at any moment in your day, you could stop, take 5 minutes, and breathe. It's free, it's available, and it absolutely scientifically proven to change the framework of your brain, to change that mental construct, to change that chatter, that Jordan, if you will, in your own mind.
Yeah. That is amazing. That's a great combination of those three elements. And it's almost like all of the, kind of, like you said, the three pillars that we need in order to kind of prop ourselves up and allow ourselves to live in that gray area and live in that grace without a lot of struggle, right?
Yeah. So what I think, life is going to have its highs and lows, right?
Mhm.
So we don't get out of this alive. It's not without suffering. We're going to have loss, and we're going to have extreme joy and celebration. But what mindfulness, meditation, yoga, that practice, it softens the highs and lows a little bit, right? So a lot of people talk about, like, when you're doing yoga and you're living a yogic life or living a mindful life, that you're in what they call the flow state. Means you're just riding the wave. You're not this salmon swimming upstream, right? That's just struggling so hard. You're like, why is this so hard? You're like, no, things are going good. And yeah, there are little ups and downs, and there are hiccups, and there are things that come along, because that's just the way life is. But you're able to manage that a little bit better, because you have what I like to call is like your own kind of mindset toolbox, or your own self-care toolbox of these little tools of breath. If you feed your body well, that you're going to feel better. If you prioritize rest and you get as much sleep as you can, you're going to feel better. If you're able to move your body, you're just going to feel better. I mean, those are the things that are for certain in life. And when you feel better, you do better. You're able to kind of tackle whatever life has to bring at you, and you're in that flow state.
Yeah, that's perfect. So with our topic is really geared towards, working moms and how they can slow down, breathe, and let go. So do you have any like last thoughts that you want to share on exactly how we can do that? Or should we just get the app, or like what is the best way around it? I'm just wondering.
No, I think the thing about working moms, number one, I think they're really good at scheduling things, right? So
Mhm.
that's usually a skill set that working moms have, that stay-at-home moms struggle with a little bit more. And prioritizing yourself is something only you can do. And self-care has been this idea that gets thrown around. And it's like, oh, it's bubble baths, and it's you feel less than, right? This whole idea of self-care is just created for you to go buy more stuff and do more things and feel not good enough. And the idea is really just prioritizing yourself. And so to slow down is even, it's how you start your day. There's always a choice in the moment. So you can get up and you can immediately go frantic and be like, or all the things, or you can take a few minutes in bed. I like to smile when I get up, because
Yeah.
it just creates a mindset, or think about, a few things that I'm grateful for. I mean, 30 seconds it may take, right? Before you just instantly hit the alarm and get running and going, right? Throughout the day, before I sit down and go to work, I try to meditate. For me, that slowing down, meditation increases productivity.
Yeah.
Anybody can meditate, anybody can work on their breathing. It even just a simple, and you don't need my app to do any of these things, a simple 2-to-1 breath technique, which is whatever your inhaling account, so say it's 4, you're exhaling double, is like a go-to. And I say, breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your nose, because that's regulating the breath, right? We usually breathe like fight or flight breath all the time. And so we start to really create this space where we can access our rest and digest. And so our body is like, oh, wait, we're not under attack. We can access executive functioning in our brain. We can really be more productive, because we're not in this state of constant stress all the time. And so for working moms, it's a struggle, and there's always going to be a choice, right? In every
Yeah.
moment. And saying yes to something is saying no to something else. And that's when we have to start prioritizing. I'm not making it to every volleyball game. I make it to as many as I can with my daughter, and I'm do the best that I can. And sometimes even myself comes first. I'm like, if I don't fill up my tank, I am no good to anybody.
Yeah.
And there was like a company Christmas party last night. And I said, before I went in there, I know me, I have to get 8 hours of sleep. And I told my husband, I love you, happy there to support you. I'm leaving at XYZ time, because
Yeah.
I have, and these are choices that I want to make, because if I stayed out there till 10, 11 o'clock at night, I'm not going to get sleep and I'm wrecked for the next day. And so I think reminding us that there is choice, even if we don't necessarily love the options. And just that reminder that choosing yourself, no one else can, and no one else will.
Yeah.
It's our responsibility, to do that. And there's always a choice. And sometimes it's hard. I mean, a lot of times it's hard, but again, we go back to what I said at the very beginning. I did the best today with the resources available. That resources include sleep, time, finances, support, all of the things. I did the best I could with the resources I had available. It'll look different tomorrow, and watch it away.
That's so powerful. Just that, again, that one statement is just amazing. And it's so freeing and relaxing to think about, and, like going to bed and being like, okay, I did the best that I could with what I can, with what I have. So I love that. It's amazing. So
yeah, it's a good little reminder you can write, on the mirror when you're brushing your teeth at night, and be like, all right, it's like a mantra can be anything, right? A clear, simple statement and a positive statement and simple language, it can be anything. Sometimes I really just use the words, I am enough, which is that beautiful reminder that you really are. You have everything you need. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Perfect. Awesome. So, where is the best place for people to get in touch with you?
Oh yeah. I'd love everybody reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at the_zen_mommy. Send me a DM, follow me on Instagram. I share cooking, mindfulness, yoga, all kinds of fun stuff. My podcast is called Mom Slow Down. And I really use it as this platform to talk about kind of funky, difficult subjects, from sexual dysfunction to marriage and relationships and counseling and parenting and everything in between. And then of course my app is on Apple and Google Play. It's a free download. So 30% of the content on the app will always be free. And I add new content every week, and I teach live from there if everybody wants to get in with me. Otherwise, just follow me on Instagram. And, if you ever have questions or, want any insight, or do the best I can. I'm share my vulnerability in hopes that it gives people space to have their own experience as well.
Thank you so much, Jessica. I really, truly appreciate you being here and sharing all of your knowledge and your experience with us, and sharing your resources as well.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Don't forget to join our Facebook group, Mastering Google My Business, to increase your revenue. You can go to facebook.com/groups/learngmb, and you will be able to network with other business owners and learn all about the latest and greatest updates to Google My Business. See you there.